I don't understand how my. Oh, okay, now there we go. So I got the YouTube side straight now. Go to my damn Twitch side. Ooh. All right, so. Ooh, I've been making ugly faces. My bad about that. But chat, this is your boy, the dreaded Rakage. YouTube, you seeing me by a different name, but that's about to change. But this is your boy, the dreaded Rakage. I want to start this shit off by saying what we're about to watch. I do not own the copyrights to this. These are these men thoughts. I am simply reacting to it. I do own my voice, my likeness, and everything that I say and my ideals. Some of the things they say I might agree with. Some of the things I might say I might disagree with. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. This is not a video to discredit none of the people that I tagged in it. This is not a video to use their stuff. This is just me trying to let y'all know I got theories. I'm on par with y'all. But this is no disrespect, no shots. I respect these two men that's doing this video, just like I respect the other people that gave me the motivation to be able to say, well, if they can do it, I can do it. So without further ado, if you're seeing this on my Twitch, please go to YouTube, give these men a little check out, a little like, a little follow. They really own their shit. They know probably a lot more than I do on some subjects. Like I probably know maybe some more shit than them on some other subjects. I don't know. We can find out. Let's find out what they talking about though. They're talking about what they think is gonna come for 160, their thoughts of it, and let's just go from there.
Brago.
One Piece was really good this week.
Oh yeah, and I don't even
Yeah,
have no.
dare I say it's gaining a lot of momentum.
A lot of momentum. Uncle Mo is in the building for the story. It is going crazy, right? Oda's doing a good job of somewhat reshaping the story for us, giving us more perspective, making us like some more.
Shout out to the man that you know what I'm saying made this manga and shit for us to even have something to talk about, man. It's been a long over 20 years, but man, shout out to Oda though.
For these characters, i.e., Figureland Garling, rising up the ranks of favorite characters amongst the One Piece fandom. I'm starting to think if we have another worldwide poll sometime soon, I don't know, top 20.
Oh,
top
easy,
30.
bro. Like I mean, I don't want to offend you, Brago. He might beat out Katakuri.
I wouldn't be mad at that opinion.
People love
Garling. People love them some Garling. But today we're going to talk about the Island of Fate. Of course, we're going to talk about Garling as well. We'll save that champion for later. Right now,
that hero, everybody's favorite.
You know, who snuffed out those dirty D's.
I'm gonna say this right here before they even get into their look. My personal feeling about it is everybody's saying he's the champion of God Valley. I know this might be an unpopular belief, but Shacky don't make it off of God Island or God Valley. She don't make it out of God Valley a free woman, man. I'm sorry. Garland is going hard in the paint like Walk of Flame for her. This man will not be denied. He done made Somers calm the fuck down like, nah, she ain't even gonna be your slave. She gonna be my wife. Like, I'm sorry that people don't want to believe it, but if you take the time from from the time of Shacky being kidnapped with the God Valley situation and everything. So say my theory right. They go to God Valley. Rocks ends up dying. He ends up saving his son. Or his son ends up being saved. But he ends up dying. We don't know whether he get Domi reversal or whatever else. Okay. Garland is the champion of God Valley. What champion loses his prize? If you watch WWE, what WWE champion walks around without his title belt to prove that he's the champion? So for Garland to be reigned as the champion of God Valley, he had to have walked home with his prize. I don't believe that Shacky makes it off of God Valley a free woman. Shacky ends up having to leave with Garland. I feel like Garland has a daughter with Shacky, and that Shacky is Boa Hancock. And in the midst of her being pregnant and everything, Garland got bored with her, or however else you want to say it, threw her away, and went and got Jenny off the battlefield. He didn't need her no more, so he threw her away. Because if you notice something, Shacky don't pull men eyes like how Shacky pulled men eyes like back in the day. So obviously she had a love sickness. She did not stay away from Garland long enough to where she died. Or it could have been that Garland had got her pregnant and she got real sick and he seen that she was about to die, so he just went on ahead and got rid of her and went and got Jenny. Because if everybody's trying to say that this Tokuma woman is Luffy's mother, she lived with this love sickness for 6 years, is what we trying to say. She didn't see Riley for a year, but maybe seeing him on God Valley fighting for her, she seen him face to face, that was able to subdue the shit for a while, and she was able to thug that shit out until she was thrown away. I mean, Gloriosa was able to survive even though Roger ended up dying. She ugly as all hell, but she still ended up living and surviving it. So what I'm trying to say is, it's very plausible that Shacky didn't make it off this island a free woman. It's very, very plausible that Shacky don't... Listen, everybody can't be saved, man. Shanks done got saved. We know he gets saved. Blackbeard, we know he gets saved too. We know 500 of these, you know what I'm saying, people on this island get saved by Kuma. We know Dragon make it off this island after saving Shanks. We know that Big Mom, Kaido, Whitebeard, all the Rocks pirates except for Rocks make it off of this island. And you think they made it off this island with Shacky? Shit, please. Wasn't nobody fucking with Garland, man. At this point in time, wasn't nobody fucking with Garland. I'm sorry. Until I'm proven wrong, Garland is the champion of God Valley because he took Shacky home. Until it's proven to me that Riley, that Rayleigh is Shacky baby daddy, or until it's proven to me that Shacky is not Boa's mother, in my head canon, because they don't, listen, they look damn near alike. And even if they don't look damn near alike, they got this one trait. Out of all the Amazon women, you mean to tell me that these two women born of two different bloodlines, and I said this in previous videos, these two women born of two different bloodlines able to freeze men just off of their beauty. Boa isn't beautiful because of her devil fruit. Her devil fruit is beautiful because of her. Her devil fruit turns people into stone because they're lusting for her. I mean, let's just keep it real, man. I'm thinking that Shakky's her mama, man. I could be wrong, but I'm really thinking that Shakky's Bo's mama. But let's continue with what the guys got to say.
Hey, I mean, he did kill like a special
Figurlin is an asshole too. I just need to say that.
Davy clan member potentially, so that's massive, man.
Yeah, he's protecting the world.
Yeah, they've been looking for those guys for 800 years, and he killed one. My God.
If you can find something that has been hiding for 800 years, you deserve a trophy.
The Senator Davy, 800 years. 800 years, void century. So, if it's 800 years, right, of the void century, the same 800 years that they claim that the Nika fruit has been running from them, the world government claims that the Nika fruit has been running from them for 800 years. We don't think that Davy D. Jones was the Nika of the void century? Because see, you gotta think about it. You got real bad followers, and then you got people that follow but believe that it's a peaceful way to follow. You got extremists, and then you got hold on, chat. What if the followers of Davy were the extremists? What if Ross Dizabet is just an extremist? He's not the, like it was said that how Whitebeard said it. He said Blackbeard was not the man that Roger was waiting for. Yeah, man, like this shit about to get crucial.
It's like finding a dinosaur bone in your backyard. It's like, wow, dude, what an accomplishment.
He gonna get shaky.
He should just be awarded Shocky for that one. He should have to compete.
Yeah, he really should have.
But honestly, respect on him though, because he said, you know what, because do you think he was the one who made a call to go acquire her?
He did, yeah. I think he said that in the chapter.
Yeah, he said he went and he acquired her.
And he still was like, nah, we gonna still put her up in the tournament. Like, respect.
And he kept her pristine for a year. Didn't touch her, didn't beat her up.
Touch her.
Honestly, like, is Garling the world's best celestial dragon? Maybe.
Starting a fashion brand.
Yeah, I don't pay for
feel
YouTube
impossible.
Premium, so
Other print-on-demand
as soon as I
platforms
can, I'ma skip past
claim
his
to support
ad.
creators.
Best is relative. Like, what do you mean by best? Like, greatest?
Mannered.
Mm.
Well-mannered.
Well-mannered without.
Garland isn't well mannered, but I feel like he got an etiquette and a way of war and a way that he maneuvered himself on the battlefield and just a way of life. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to put respect on Garland's name, but he's still an asshole. We gonna fast forward through some of this shit too.
Have to think about it. It's a very short list though.
It is very short. Not a lot of them.
I ain't got no hour chat.
But he's on it. You got to think about that one. We'll put a poll at the bottom so you guys can vote for the best mannered
celestial
dragon.
You know, we got Charlos, Gunko.
Homing is not included.
Yeah, Homing's not in there. No, get that bum out of here, bro. Come on.
Yeah, get that loser out of here, man.
What was he thinking?
Frolic with the peasants. This chapter is called The Island of Fate. Well, the cover story's back. Back to nothing.
Back to nothing, yeah. I was going to say, you said it's back. I was like, yeah, we're back to doing absolutely zero.
Back to doing
Fun
nothing.
stuff.
But again, still canon material. Stuff is happening elsewhere. We'll take it how it comes. Because
Always
it's going
a
to be
pleasure
fire at some point. It's going to be
look at
fire at some
Yamato.
point. Yeah. I forgot what video I made, but I was talking about Yamato. I was talking about
Nobody, according to Oda,
Nobody
right?
was-
Not even Big Mom and Kaido talked after
Not-
God Valley, bro.
they went their separate ways and did their own thing. So ultimately, betrayal happening here, not shocked. That's kind of the environment that Rocks was fostering. Of course, Shaki, she had this neutral place where people could come and just chill and, no violence. That I think that was appreciated, but Wang Ji didn't give a shit about that. It's all about the bag, baby.
Damn.
Screw Shaki. It seemed like
Screw
everybody
Shaki,
else was
screw
devastated for
Dawn.
the most part. Yeah.
Can't
They said
believe
our
it.
Shaki got taken. And I think, obviously, while they're there, it is more familial because, Shaki is ours. She is on Pirate Island. I'm sure they felt like a family member was taken. See how Whitebeard reacted? He's probably like, huh? You took my family.
Yeah. Well, you can see a
Whereas-
damn vein popping out of his forehead,
Yeah, he's mad. He's mad, which is like, ooh, Whitebeard, you do react when people take people that you care about. That's not Ace, I guess. No, Whitebeard,
Yeah.
Whitebeard was mad, man. And again, I feel like they kind of developed a familial vibe. Like you said, while you're there, you probably felt really close to all these people. But Wang Ji kept the main thing, and that's the money. I think Wang Ji and Big Mom, for the most part, they were just like Shiki too. I don't feel like Shiki was ever.
Ooh. Who do you think would win in a fight, Wang Ji or Big Mom? In
Wang
their
Ji.
prime.
No. Big Mom.
Big Mom?
Big Mom.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Wang Ji, I'm not gonna lie, he feels like the quote fifth emperor of the
Fifth
sea.
Emperor.
Man.
Yeah, that's what people are
Yeah.
calling him. Okay, I got to give him his props. However, I don't think it was a situation where he was going in boxing down Don Marlin and boxing Shaki. I think.
No,
I
but
think he
still,
probably,
afterwards though, Rocky Port, he fought Blackbeard, Law, and Kobe, man. This guy's kind of crazy.
Let me ask you. Fought Blackbeard, Law, and Kobe. No, that is impressive. However, Kobe versus most top tiers, dust. Absolutely nothing.
True.
Law versus most, we're talking about top tiers.
Big
He's a
Mom.
problem.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's the thing. With Law, he's great support. So you got to give him his credit. I would have liked to see that fights to see how much Law. He says begin the preparation.
Awaken to a world of wonder in Final Fantasy XIV Online.
For the island to no longer exist. Now, this is interesting because
Awaken to a world of wonder in Final Fantasy XIV Online.
we know they have their games where they hunt these people like rabbits. But he's like, yo, this island will not exist soon. So, we know God Valley doesn't exist anymore,
Yeah.
right?
I still think that God Valley is still a bar. I still think it was more than just a Davy Clare.
They didn't have what they had with Lucia before at this time. What the hell happened to God Valley?
I have no clue. And what makes this even weirder, by the way, is Shanks bringing sake from his hometown to Whitebeard. Like, what? Like, does God Valley exist? Like,
Does
how
it
did he
exist
do
somewhere
that?
else? Or
Yeah.
maybe, the Celestial Dragons are so dastardly. They
Oh.
got the resources. They got the liquor because it's the best stuff. Shanks is the best.
Ah.
So they have God Valley Hennessy in Mary Joa.
Just
And Shanks
aging up
took some.
there?
Yeah. Shanks took some.
Maybe. Or you
Yeah.
keep, like, the brewer alive. Like, he's the one guy
Probably.
whose life you spare.
Yeah, maybe. But Shanks, he got the good stuff. And I wouldn't be Celestial Dragons, they love the good stuff. So just
Shout out to
completely
my favorite CD.
Garling or Shanks.
Shanks.
Yeah. He's up there. But I don't know how they got rid of the island. Like, I have no. I mean, of course, there are devil fruits that can do it. We know that, but like, knowing what we know happened in this chapter, after they found out what they found out, it's like, all right, the island is gone. Because I don't think they get rid of every island that they invade. Obviously.
They could.
But how? But I think they wanted to do this specifically to God Valley because of who was living here.
Yeah,
where it's like,
the
yo,
Davy
the
clan.
island is gone, right? So this might be a special case here where
Emu
it's
could
like,
do it.
yeah,
Yeah, like I'm sure Emu has some sort of island.
Okay, I just want to make sure the volume was up, man. Man, this God Valley shit about to be real, man. I agree with the dragon gonna get his devil fruit. I disagree with that somebody gonna save him, motherfucking, Shacky. Damn, I couldn't think of her name. But yeah, Shacky, I don't think she making it out of here a free woman.
Busting
at all.
attack.
like a Punctureville. I don't know. That's it for you guys.
Like fishnets aren't bad, but like I don't think Dragon will pull them off. You know,
you think that gonna pull this off?
better than Dragon for sure. Like at least for Ivanka, we expect it, right? We don't expect it for Dragon.
But that's expect the unexpected. That's what the revolutionaries are.
That is true.
But yeah, Dragon's here, doing his thing, doing his dragon thing, asking the questions. Then we cut away to the Navy ship with the slaves, with Ginny, speaking of Ivankov. And, funny enough, it seems like they're hiding away. And you have a slave that's like, yo, shut up, kids. Don't ruin things for the rest of us. And they're hiding, by the way. And Ivankov starts yelling at the top of his lungs. Says,
I would be so mad at Ivankov. Like, bro, we're about to get whipped, man. Like, I know I'm gonna die soon, but jeez.
Like
yeah.
after Frieza
I was thinking,
attacks
hey,
Goku.
I had to laugh. Wait a minute. I had to laugh, man, because yo, this shit right here is so funny to me because I was thinking the same damn thing, bro. Whenever I read this chapter, like I can see the slave part, like, man, listen, I know we about to die, man, but damn, nigga, you might get me whooped, man. God damn, boy, she had me there laughing too. I just had to pause it right here.
Yeah, where Goku turns around, he's like,
"You fool!" That's literally what
you
Ivankov
chose
does.
this.
Like, come on, Ivankov. Like, calm down a little bit. And
Yeah,
Kuma's just
whisper
like,
it, man.
everything is fine. Everything is fine. Kuma's such a pacifist, man. I love Kuma so much.
Yeah, I like Kuma a lot in this chapter. He looked like an egg.
Yeah. Kuma's base Kuma, kid Kuma, right after clapped. Dun, 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 dun. I thought he would never do that. I thought it'd be trauma. But
I mean, it's like your dad's last words in a way. You gotta carry it on. Which
that's why he died.
Because Sun God Nika has a theme song. Do you think Emu has a theme song? Like maybe when we start the games or something, or when Emu shows up. Yeah, like they all start chanting.
And of course he's being monitored by the government to make sure he does what he has to do. Rox talks a little bit of smack and says, yo, you're still just trying to get brownie points. You're an idiot.
On somebody. I think somebody recorded the Demon Slayer movie and they got slapped. Would you play it and see what's on it? Davy Jones or something?
Yeah, some Davy thing. I think where were we actually? I don't know.
We just talked about the Davy clan. We're at the part where he talks about his family being at God Valley.
Yeah, so he mentions that he is a Davy D, right? And how they're trying to make a living, etc. So then he talks about fate, essentially. He says my timing was either great or terrible because I had a kid.
So he keep his shit short and sweet.
Could this be a chance for us to see Dragon's devil fruit as he eats one and places Shanks in the chest? So this is an idea that I like a lot. In the last video, I was talking about the potential of the 9 God Valley prize chests, and I was thinking that could have contained a ton of future Charlotte family fruits, but one of these fancy fruit boxes could also contain Dragon.
You know something I'm noticing though? Everybody's scared to touch this damn subject that I'm talking about, man. Everybody talking about God Valley, but ain't nobody talking about Shacky not making it off God Valley a free woman. But I digress myself.
Dragon's currently unknown devil fruit. And things play out just as the commenter said. Dragon, charged with saving the children of this dying mother, discovers...
Here's the God thought, y'all. And I ain't hear none of y'all say this is a theory either. But if it's a sun god, forest god, a rain god, and an earth god, legendary devil fruits that was meant for the champions of God Valley, Emu's right hands. In other words, Dragon got devil fruit off this island. Y'all don't think he got the rain god fruit? I'm just saying. When it come with rain, you got a lot of different types of rain. You got hurricane, tornado, lightning storm, thunderstorm, with a lot of rain. I'm just saying.
Shanks and needs to get him to safety. And Dragon goes, well, where is safety? Everywhere's under attack. What's this? Chest. But what's this inside the chest? Fictional fruit. And this fictional fruit, it looks quite powersome, and it's about to fall into bad hands because it's being highly sought after as one of the prizes. So Dragon makes a choice to eat the fruit to protect it, then stuff the child into the chest, also to protect it. And this is the origin of Dragon's wind, weather, whatever powers. God Valley is the reason Dragon didn't want to be associated with Luffy as he grew up. He was protecting him. So if there's one thing this chapter does accomplish amongst the other 100 things it did, it was affirming Dragon's philosophy. In chapter 1101, Bartholomew Kuma questioned Dragon about his keen interest in Dawn Island, and Dragon replied, "Keep going if you want to see me killed. Children are a vulnerability for any parent." Which is something that we saw play out on Elbaf when Colin was threatened by Copacabana and then was rather hoisted by Gunko. And it's happening again. The Rocks Pirates, they've come to God Valley to save Shacky regardless, but this outcome may have been more favorable to Rocks if his family weren't also fatefully involved in this incident. Rocks seems to understand that his time is up, but again, it's not because he's just going to God Valley, it is about who he's going for. Rocks isn't using the same words or even the same philosophy as Dragon, but he intrinsically understands the position of weakness he's putting himself in, and he is more than happy to do it for the sake of his tiny teach. This might be a bit off, but I'm also curious if Dragon himself could play into this theme. He's young and inexperienced, barely an adult at this point, so could Dragon get held hostage, and could that become a weakness for Garp that Dragon observes during God Valley as well? The fact that he as a child made his parent vulnerable, and could that have led into Dragon's decision to separate Luffy from his life? Look, I admit I have a bit of a bad habit of assuming the worst of Mr. Monkey D. Dragon, something that I should perhaps replace with a better habit of giving him the benefit of the doubt as he spends year after year looking east. But to look at other better alternatives, we also have the sponsor of this video, Fume. This is a Fume, and this
You always sneak that shit in there.
Fume Zero. A single-use flavored air. Fume have already helped over 500,000 humans be enough, but Dragon's own father is on the island as well, so there's potential to hammer this in further. And you know, when you think about it, Roger really did things the clever way. He waited until he became the Pirate King and solved all of the mysteries of the planet before he had a child. And in fact, Roger also purposely removed himself from the world before his child could be born, and therefore Roger never had such a vulnerability. Man on the World Wide Web, it looks like Harold let Rocks sink his ship when asking his crew to stand down. I think he understood that the bad guys aren't the Rocks pirates, but the government. However, a government ship was surveilling. So that's not confirmed, but I think it's pretty heavily implied. Harold appears to have done nothing, and yes, he ordered his men not to engage. And part of me feels like this is a bit of a shame because all of the Rocks pirates versus a Harold would have been something pretty amazing to see, or even a No way that the world government are convinced by it. And even if they are, Harold now isn't going to live up to the end of his bargain by killing Rox. That's the deal they made. So the world government, they'll pull something like, well, Rox technically died on God Valley, but not to you. So Elbaf doesn't get to become one of us. And they might make it so that Harold has to prove himself in another way, another horn-rippingly frustrating way. Or perhaps 5 years of naked dancing would do the trick. I wonder exactly how much Harold is aware of what's happening on God Valley. Because at the very least, he seems to know that the world nobles are gathering there. And if Harold does know or finds out what happens, how far is he willing to look the other way in order to have his people become part of the world government? Because if it's all the way, then we are looking at a fascinatingly morally grey character. If Gunko is there, then could Rox's fate be to get Domi reversied? Could be a truly tragic reason why everyone had to gang up on him. So 2 things with this comment. Firstly, Gunko, yeah, she is indeed on God Valley, which I did not mention in the initial review video because there was just too much going on.
That's why I try to tell the boys myself, man. I try to tell them, I was like, man, Gonko is on God's Valley for a reason. Like, there's no way that she's on God Valley if not for a reason. You feel me? Emu, remember him saying, I'm a follower of David. The bet might be the only thing, but Emu sent Gonko there because Gonko wasn't supposed to be there. But Emu sent Gonko there for him to be able to get there if he needs to get there.
And elsewhere, and we do only see this tiny panel of her, but look at the way she's dressed. It is incredibly formal compared to the military schoolgirl chic she sports on Elbaf. Almost like a dress uniform for the Holy Knights, or maybe even a fashion from a previous time. And curiously, Gunko has long hair during this era, which in the modern day she did not. Prior to Emu taking over her body, Emu seems to have a preference for the long hair, and grew it out of his host to look simply fabulous for the rare occasion that he does make an appearance on the surface. But given that Gunko's here, I do think it's pretty inevitable that Emu is going to need to step in and take control once things get out of control. In fact, I think it's guaranteed because Scopa Gaban appears to have recognized the feeling of Emu's throbbing shakkys in chapter 1151, and there's not going to be many other opportunities for Scopa Gaban to have come into contact with that. Who else is going to be able to stop both the full force of the Rox pirates and the full force of the Roger pirates? Saint Summers? I think not, although I would bet the retirement savings of a random lucky viewer on this channel that we are going to see Saint Summers versus Scopa Gaban and find out why Summers shat himself when he found out that Gaban was on Elbaf. But as for the question of whether or not Rox is going to get Domi reversied, I would initially oppose the idea, just because if someone like Rox can be converted, then it means that the ability cannot be stopped by anyone. However, after getting over that, I would also support the idea because one, seeing a demon Rox would just be insanely cool, and sometimes that is reason enough to want something, especially in a shonen manga. But also, I could see Rox taking it on as a gambit, allowing himself to be controlled, and possibly even being able to take control of the demon form through sheer will himself, unlike anyone else we've seen so far. And after repelling some holy knights and seeing his family escape, maybe Rox does ultimately lose himself, and it's up to the Roger and the Garp to bring a tragic end to the life of one Davy D. Zebek. Also, when you go back and reread One Piece a few times, you start to notice certain things. And one is that Oda loves this, to mirror the past with the present in any given arc. And there's a myriad of ways that he does this, but one very common one is mirroring the big threat device. Think stuff like the Buster Call, which was in Robin's flashback, and also became the call to destruction during Enisobi, or the birdcage being featured in Mother would have been very unlikely to reveal her deepest, darkest secret to Garling. However, the woman who fell in love with Garling, she would be an open book. This poor woman poured her poor heart out to Garling, exposing all of her secrets in the name of love and trust. And it may also explain the mystery of Shanks' tears in chapter 968. When Roger returned from Laugh Tale, he told Shanks a thing that made him burst into tears. And that thing could be the truth of what happened to the Davy clan, something that now may or may not have to do with Shanks' lineage. But then again, if Shanks and Shamrock were from the Davy clan, I'm not sure why they would have been allowed to survive, even if Garling was part of their creation. But there is potential, and either way, to maybe clear one thing up, I'm seeing a lot of mind-blown individuals that cannot believe that Shanks and Blackbeard were born on the same island. And that's a very healthy reaction because I don't think they were. According to the Viviacard data book, Blackbeard was born in the Grand Line, and God Valley it is in West Blue. We even have a specific location for Blackbeard. He comes from a place called Shade Port. So Rox must have met Mrs. Rox on his journey, had a baby, Mrs. Rox, not Rox, and then Rox deemed that the safest place to keep Tiny Teach was at Rox's home of God Valley. Because nothing bad ever happens on God Valley. That was the saying up until 38 years ago anyway. It is not only the Rox pirates who never talk about God Valley. According to Sengoku, Garp also never talks about it. I wonder if Garp feels ashamed for taking Rox down. As he should, because what did he accomplish here? The killing of a loving father and the defending of the world nobles committing a genocide. And with
I don't
that
think
in
that
mind,
shit went
if I
down
was
like that,
Garp,
'cause he only
I'd
went there to
probably
fight
feel
Roger.
a bit bitter about my title, the hero of
Like I say, man, so much shit get twisted. Like they ain't gonna say, yeah, Emu, this big demon from the world government up high came and killed Rocks. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, they gave Garp the motherfucking hype and shit. But what really went down was Garp went there to throw them hands with Roger, and Emu popped the fuck out. Damn, Garland went and did his shit, and the government had to twist the story, and they paid Big News Morgan to tell the story the way they wanted it told to everybody.
the Marines, which was given to Garp as a direct result of this event. Because right now, it doesn't look like there's a whole lot of heroing to be done. I could be wrong.
Like, to be honest with it, they ain't even say nothing about God Valley. This shit happened. They just made up a story for Garp to be the damn hero of the Marines, to be honest with it. And they paid Big News Morgan for it.
Because so far, nothing that we knew about God Valley that other people had stated has turned out to be true. So we'll find out soon enough. But a small note that I really do like about Garp in this chapter, though, is the consistency with chapter 1096. Oda redrew the same moment when Garp finds out that Roger's heading to God Valley, and some of you may even think that it's the exact same imagery used for this chapter, which would be efficient, but Eiichiro Oda, he doesn't do that. Even if he wants to show the exact same image again, he will always redraw it. Loki was actually looking up to the right person as his idol, which makes it even more sad from his narrative. That is a great point. When this flashback establishes that only the winner has the right to decide what gets done with her, whether that is wife her up or slave her down, and everything that those two roles entail. But luckily, this is not a Boa Hancock situation. Shakky's been treated more or less like a collectible figure kept in a fun-sealed box, and Caribou wouldn't be born until 6 years after the God Valley incident, so we definitely don't need to go into any more Shacky is someone's mother theories. Did Kuma saved Blackbeard? That outcome is also very possible. After they escaped, I think it was Ivankov who said that Kuma had saved over 500 slaves, and Blackbeard may have been one of them, which would be
I still say she bore a mother.
so fantastically conflicting because it would mean that Kuma, kind of unknowingly, has set both Luffy up as well as his greatest rival. Kuma propagated the Sun God and the Darkness God, but also Teach may have escaped through someone else. We also see Gil Basta in this chapter, but it's very brief. We do, and congratulations to you if you spotted him. Gil Basta can be seen in this panel featuring Shiki and Silver Axe, and Gil Basta is something of an Easter egg Rocks pirate, as this character was the protagonist of Oda's one-shot Wanted, and if you're unaware, he was also the four-armed zombie with all the guns on Thriller Bark. Meaning that, I don't know man, we know that he's dead, so maybe God Valley is this man's last stand. Man on the internet, would Dragon technically doing something in a flashback have any bearing on your bingo card? Yes, I think this does definitely count. It would be rather petty not to give Dragon this just because it's a flashback. So I've now marked the Dragon Does Nothing square red, meaning that it is gone and we will never get it back. It was definitely the wrong year to bet on Dragon doing nothing, but that's not a bad thing. As I said in the initial bingo video, this was always going to be a win-win. Either we get to profit off Dragon doing nothing as usual, or we finally get to see something. And as it turns out, we got to see something big. So why did Rock say he is from Davy Jones to Emu himself if it is supposed to be a top secret? I think that Rox wanted to let Emu know that Emu's actions 800 years ago were coming back to haunt him. And to be fair to Rox, he described himself as a worshipper of Davy Jones, not a descendant of Davy Jones. But I could also see why that's not such a great idea, as anyone embodying the Davy ideals would ideally be purged from Emu's perspective, maybe. But then again, I don't know, because Emu doesn't appear to have taken it seriously. I'm surprised no one is talking about Rayleigh's reaction to the news, with him shaking and yelling out alongside the crew. The concept of him not coming to Hachinosu for her one time, but then realizing he needs to take action when it could be too late hit real hard for me. I think that's well said. Rayleigh has spent so much time so far avoiding Shacky for his own reasons.
Like I said, man, a little bit too late, my boy. You was not. I put it like this, man. Even in his prime, man, if Rayleigh right now, before they even get older, because you gotta understand, this is still, they still young. They ain't even get older yet on the crew. So if Rayleigh before Odin even joins Whitebeard's crew, because Whitebeard ain't got no crew right now, if he can beat fucking Garland whenever Garland damn near killed Whitebeard with one slash, man, come on, bro, what the fuck? Alright. Okay. They is not getting Shacky back, man.
Despite really wanting to be with her, and he's left her alone.
They get Shacky back is plot armor bullshit, but I'll let it slide now. I say I'm wrong, but I don't think Shacky getting out of this with a free woman.
Long enough that she's now been abducted, when maybe that could have been prevented if I'd just gone after her in the first place, is what he'd be thinking. It is really great seeing that panel of Rayleigh so determined to save Shacky though. When Roger asks if everyone's with him, Rayleigh is practically roaring and finally showing some emotion for her. And speaking of emotion, is it weird that I care more for Rox than Roger? I don't think it's weird at all, because this is now Rox's flashback. So we're supposed to care for.
Got one more video that I'm going my ass to be, y'all.
The God Valley incident has just begun, and I, for one, am not ready
Damn,
for
my boy,
how
you
it's
loud.
going to end. But as has been suspected for a while now, Shacky did end up getting kidnapped and used not just a native hunting contest prize, but the native hunting contest prize. And so the mystery of who the Rocks Pirates traitor is has finally Shacky for thinking that, yeah, perhaps it is time for the legend of Idol Shacky to be laid to rest. A much more peaceful ending for her than the citizens of God Valley, particularly Shanks and Shamrock's mother. Alright, let's get to this. In this chapter, Saint Bigland Garling really proved himself as a holy knight by sadistically toying with the mother of his twin children. And Garling, he just fits in so perfectly with the theme of the Holy Knights. On Elbaf right now, their whole deal, mostly represented through St. Summers, is that the Holy Knights do not understand the concept of love, and they view it as a glaring weakness of humanity. The fact that the Holy Knights do not feel it makes them superior. So in order to entertain themselves, the Holy Knights like to construct these convoluted games designed to exploit love in brutal, heartbreaking, but therefore hilarious ways. And this is exactly what Garling did as well. I was actually having this discussion with Arta from the Library of O'Hara on Twitter, who was convinced that Garling had word I can't say on YouTubed Shanks's mother, which I disagreed with, not because it's crossing Garling's moral line, whatever that happens to be if it exists, but more so because such a straightforward and blunt approach would bore him. It is boring. And it's so much more in line for Garling to make this woman believe that she is loved for 2 whole years before betraying her, stabbing her, and abducting her children. We don't see Shanks' mother's face in this chapter, nor do we see Blackbeard's mother's face, actually. And I'm not sure that we ever will see either of them. But Garling saw her face, and my bet is that the expression she was making was one of the deepest betrayal. A kind of pain that I don't think words are sufficient to describe, because between translations, but the general vibe is that he's referring to Shacky as a luxury product that he's ordered from the wife store. He doesn't say wife store, I added that part, but that's what it sounds like. And that would be another great reason for Shacky to disappear after God Valley, because Garling doesn't seem like the kind of man who would settle for second best if he knew that there was something better and more fitting out there. And with that, I must apologize to everyone who proposed the Shacky is Shanks' mother theory, because it almost kind of came true. If everything had gone according to Garling's plan, then Shacky would have been Shacky.
I'ma die on that hill. Boa is motherfucking Shacky's daughter. if she ain't Shacky's daughter, Vegapunk got some DNA from her from the Celestial Dragons to try to clone her as a slave for them. Something, bro. Something, bro. They are related some way, shape, or form, bro. They are related.
Shanks's
That is her mother.
stepmother. And I have to say, amongst all of this pain and suffering, I do love this panel of Shanks and Shamrock together. And I think there's something kind of funny about Shamrock raising 2 arms while Shanks is only raising 1 arm. It's almost like a commentary on their current arm status. They look very similar in this panel though. In the last chapter, they had quite a clear emotional difference. And this may go to show that should things have turned out differently, and say Shamrock was found by Roger, then he could have turned out to be a great guy who gave a hat to Luffy, while Shanks could have become thoroughly indoctrinated by the world noble lifestyle. I think the idea behind this panel is that no one is born inherently good or evil, and that both of these babies are blank canvases that turn out to be such different artworks. However, if you would like to experience a lifestyle of, just sitting there and being served for an hour or two, then I would highly recommend checking out the Calm Belt, which is a channel currently undertaking the project of flashback on Ohara. However, Dragon is wearing short sleeves, so this does appear to be an actual tattoo on his arm. Whatever it is, Oda is once again emphasizing that this symbol is extremely important to Dragon, and there's probably a very good reason why he decided to have his face siloed with it. It won't be because of God Valley though, because Dragon meeting Vegapunk on Ohara didn't happen until 16 years after the God Valley incident, so outside and far away from all of this, we still probably have a much deeper personal tragedy incoming for Dragon that drives him to get that tattoo. However, that is a story for another flashback. Dragon's main story in this flashback appears to be that he discovers Shanks' dying mother, although I have seen some people confuse this for Teach's mother, which is understandable because Toddler Teach is featured in the very next panel, but it's definitely Shanks' mother, because it looks like she's either crawled into the building or been dumped here by Garlic. There's a trail of blood leading to her rapidly depleting of life body, and despite the immense tragedy, something amazing could be happening here. As if Dragon honors this woman's words and is responsible for getting so great to see this happy face again. Child Ginny was so much like Luffy and was a much needed source of light prior to the birth wore smart looking hats like men used to do back in ye olde days. I'm very surprised to see Morgan's here for a couple of reasons. One is that you would have thought that he would have been too young to be reporting on this event. Morgan's is only 15 years old at this point in time, but he has appointed himself the president of the World Economic Journal. A very, very bold title, both job and newspaper, because I love that during this time, Morgan's was just running a fledgling localish newspaper. He ran a small business, which Morgan's was able to
and about to get paid for this whole God Valley shit.
Gather information as well as to extort bodies like the world government. And just say different things, so I'm going to wait on that. But it was Morgan's who then fed Ginny's information to Hachinosu, and it was that information, I believe, that spread to Roger. And without his desire for the dramatic, Ginny's effort would have amounted to nothing. So we do have to thank our Big Bird friend here, because he does spend
big power
our
plays.
time helping us.
His team making power
plays.
plays.
Is spent hindering us. And so see Rox and how they sit down and drink together, which is quite reminiscent of Roger and White Davy D Teach, and they are both direct descendants of Davy Jones. Although it turns out that the narrator lied to us about that name as well, because Davy Jones is actually Davy D Jones. David Jones. David Jones. My grandmother used to work in one of those, which I guess cans the idea that the D in the Will of D stood for Davy, because then his name would just be Davy Jones. But the Davy clan, they're particularly taboo amongst even those wielding the massive D. The world government are more than happy to entertain monkeys and jaguars in their system, but the name Davy is something so purge-worthy that up until the end of this chapter, nobody even knew that any of them still existed. And Rox, he has such a devastating line during this conversation, though this really hit me, where he says that it doesn't feel like luck is on his side anymore, and it feels like fate has now taken full control of his life. That makes me very sad, because this is what eventually happens with the Will of...
Alright, so boom, we know there's 3 Nickels, right? What if the first nickel was a buccaneer? The second nickel was Davy Jones. And the time that they killed that nickel and they purged the world of buccaneers, Davy found the devil fruit and ended up becoming a damn nickel. So they purged his whole clan. And when they purged his whole clan, the mother of the sea got mad and stopped devil fruit users from being able to swim. Cause see that shit didn't happen until Davy died. Davy died. That's whenever that 800 years ago Void Century shit. Yeah, that was Davy. Davy did that shit.
Luck fuels the D-Clan members throughout their entire lives until it is time to fulfill their ultimate purpose. Then suddenly luck runs out and fate takes them into the next life in the most poetic of ways possible. And in this case, such poetry is that Rox's home island, coincidentally, happens to be God Valley, which is where his wife and child are currently being held as super rare rabbits for the hunting contest. And we even see Tiny Teach on the last page of this chapter, and with a childhood like...
See, listen, Kuma is a super rare rabbit. Why? Because they thought they got rid of him by the time Davy Jones came. All right, they didn't get rid of him. So by the time that they was getting rid of the Davy D Jones or my bad, by the time they was getting rid of the Davy Jones clan on God's Valley, Kuma was the last Buccaneer. Because that's how they was erasing them. Why was they erased first? Why was they so strongly believing in Nika? Because the first Nika was a damn Buccaneer. The first Nika was a Buccaneer. The second Nika was down Davy Jones. And now we got the third Nika, Monkey D. Luffy.
This, mate, it's got to be difficult not to grow up to become the villain. Bartholomew Kuma managed to do it, but no one else is him. So all of the Rox pirates now think that they are going to God Valley to rescue Shacky, which also that. But Rox is secretly using this as an excuse so that he can go and save his family and...
Well, this shit was doing like the Avatar. Going through all the races. Till he got to Luffy. Who dreams lined up with the first Nika.
And he knows that this is going to be his last stand. That's the impression I get from his words. And just on that, it is almost certainly Teach and his mother who Garling was speaking about in the previous chapter. The discovery that Emu would be pleased with, not Uranus or anything. As at the end of this chapter, our World Noble Master of Ceremonies announces that they have more super rare rabbits in addition to the Buccaneer Bartholomew Kuma. And after, get this, 800 years, they have uncovered more members of the Davy clan. So the world government
800 years ago, like I said,
haven't officially encountered any Davies since the Void Century ended, meaning that this entire clan was supposedly wiped out. And something I didn't notice at first is that Oda appears to have retconned part of the God Valley incident that we saw in chapter 1096. You may remember that the God Valley native hunting contest rather iconically featured 6 prize chests to be awarded to those who win the most points, with 2 of those chests including Kuma's future devil fruit and Kaido's future devil fruit. Well, imagine my surprise when I was re-examining the chests in this chapter, only to discover that there are now 9 chests, and many of them also have different unique designs as opposed to the uniform chest design that we saw in Kuma's flashback. Now, I'm not pointing this out to be nitpicky and go, oh, inconsistency, bad storytelling, story man. Not at all. I'm pointing this out because this
What's going on, Base? What's going on, everybody? Appreciate you for coming in.
Thought about this and decided that 6 chests was not enough for
Appreciate you, my
whatever it is
guy.
that he wants to do, and that we actually needed 9 prizes.
Yeah, we do,
Shacky,
my
of
boy,
course,
we
acting
do.
as the ultimate 10th prize. And again, we know what 2 of these prizes are,
Hold
but
on,
that
let me
means
do
that there are
the
now
shout-outs.
7 mystery prizes remaining, all of which have the potential to be something as mind-blowing as Kaido's devil fruit. And I do wonder how many of the fruits in these chests that Big Mom managed to scoop up. When she heard about the prizes in this chapter, her first thought was about feeding them to her kids. So within these chests may be the devil fruits of Charlotte Perispero, Katakuri, Daifuku Oven, and
I
who
appreciate
knows
that
how
though,
many
man.
more. But I'm looking at this chapter, right, and it is real difficult not to
Oh,
come
let
to
my
the
shit
conclusion
cool down,
that
my boy.
Rox
I
was the
got you.
good guy all along. And with that belief, it becomes even harder to see Roger defeating him here, or for that matter, clashing with Rox at all. Why would he do it? Rox and Roger have essentially a shared interest on this island. They're both here to rescue Shacky, and Rox is also here to rescue some extra someones as well. I don't think that should offend Roger. So just how does this event turn into everybody ganging up on Rox? And I'm starting to feel like it could be that the Rox pirates do not talk about their
I
time.
ain't gotta damn go through this no more, man. What I said is what I said, man. 800 years ago, void century shit. David D. David D. Jones. Davy Jones. Yeah. He was a Nika, man. He was the second Nika, man. He was the second Nika, and that's why that's why his clan had to be erased. Just like the Buccaneer race. Oh, a Buccaneer was the first Nika. We just gonna get rid of all the Buccaneers. You feel me? And the reason why I feel like the Buccaneers, their body was the only thing that was tough enough to go underground to be able to get that power source that Emu was looking for. But I'm off tomorrow, man. I'm gonna be on more chats. Man, I put an @ on my YouTube for anybody that sees this video. Please go check the original content creators out. You can watch the whole videos there on their page. I just want to do a quick reaction, put my little 2 cents in it. You know what I mean? They still ain't really tap on what I'm tapping on, but I can fucks with it, man. I fucks with it full and through. But my final thoughts on this is Garland done went too hard. He's the champion of God Valley. Don't no champion walks out of the title match and they are the champion without having their championship belt. Okay? So what I'm saying is Garland makes it off of God Valley with Shacky. No, I don't feel like Shacky gonna die nothing, man. We know Shacky don't die. You feel me? But I do believe that she spent some time in Marie Joie. And I feel like Garland might either get bored with her or and throw her away, get her pregnant and throw her away. They end up taking samples of her DNA, giving it to Vigapunk, and they end up making a clone of her. And that's how, you know what I'm saying, Boa came. But Boa got some type of connection with Shacky. And the reason why I'm saying it is for this one reason. Shacky made Roger, Navy Marines, Rocks Pirates, all these men bow down at her feet just off of her looks. You know who else do that? Boa fucking Hancock. It is not because of her devil fruit. She got her devil fruit after the fact. That's all I got to say about that, man. Shacky and Boa related some type of way, shape, or form. This shit about Dragon. I feel like he got the rain fruit. It's a rain god. It's something that if it's not the rain fruit, it's the name of the rain god that he is supposed to be. But when you think about it, man, when it comes to rain, it comes to the thunder, the wind, the lightning, all that. Put all that together, match it up. Bro, listen, bro, I can't let it go, bro. I can't let it go, bro. I really can't, bro. I can't let it go. But yeah, like Dragon, his shit gonna be the motherfucking rain fruit or some shit like that to do with rain. Honestly, I think Loki. I think Loki is gonna be the big reveal. This is why I don't think that it's gonna be revealed what Devil Fruit Dragon has on God Valley. Because when this is all said and done with, big mispopular belief that people don't believe me on, I feel like Loki has the Elbaf, the legendary Elbaf Devil Fruit. Not only do I feel like he has that Devil Fruit, but I feel like his hammer also has a Devil Fruit that's conducting lightning. See, I feel like that's the throw off. We've never really seen a Devil Fruit user and his weapon be a Devil Fruit user. But if you notice, he had that shit shackled on his feet. He had a Zoan. Now, he could have the Thor fruit as far as to the point of saying he was gonna be the destruction of Elbath and Thor was the destruction of giants in Norse mythology. Or it could be that he has the Surtur fruit, which is he destroyed Asgard at the end of Ragnarok. It could be one of those two. But I feel like Dragon's God fruit ain't gonna be revealed until later on down the line. I think what we're seeing right now is the turning point in his mind. Like, yeah, this world government shit ain't what it's about. Um, what's the other one? What's the other one? Oh, I feel as though the reason why Gloriosa lived through her love sickness ain't just because Roger died, but also because she ended up having a family with somebody else, and that ended up making lineage to Nami. Because if you notice, Nami, she made men have the heart shaped eyes as far as to the Vin Smoke family, but it ain't as serious as it is with Boa, and it's often forgotten. But a lot of men lusted over fucking Nami too. And I'm just saying Nami kind of looked like fucking Gloriosa back in the day. I'm just saying. Um, that's about it, man. Like they ain't covered all the shank shit. Like I say, go get them a click, man. If you like what you seen here, man, please hit me with a little follow, a like. These three guys is awesome as hell, man. They damn make good ass content, man. Give them a look, man. But I'm about to damn take my ass to bed for the night because I don't work. I done damn sit back and watch this good shit. Yeah, I feel like a lot of shit about to happen though. But I'm gonna sit back and wait. I'm gonna wait till the end because, like I said, a lot of people ain't talking about this. But I don't think Bull making it out, gang. I don't think she making it out a free woman. I think Garland going home with his prize. That's just on me. But until next time, Twitch, YouTube, peace, love, and blessings. Y'all have a good night, morning, whatever it is, whenever you seeing this. I'm out.